Israel today is mourning the 3 teenagers who were brutally killed by the Hamas terrorists. This atrocity, unfortunately, is the direct result of the fact that the Palestinian Authority and Hamas signed a pact that allowed Hamas to reestablish its presence in the West Bank and to conduct attacks.
Another teenager is dead in the Middle East. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas are at times calling for restraint, yet also seeking what they consider justice. Conflict between these two parties is nothing new. So what sets this latest conflagration apart, and how dangerous might it become? Let us welcome into MidPoint now from the American and Middle Eastern Affairs Center, Dr. Sabri Samirah, and also founder, editor, and publisher of AtlasShrugs.com and president of the American Freedom Defensive Initiative. Pamela Geller joins us today. Thank you so much both for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Pamela, I believe that you are the only one that we have at the moment. We are still waiting to get Sabri here online. So let me ask you this then, quite frankly. As I noted, we have seen these before. Obviously, we are not trying to downplay the loss of 4 young lives, but there is a constant faction, there is a constant fighting between these two sides. In your opinion, and looking at what we have seen current and recent history to be, how dangerous is this specific incident when it comes to a flashpoint taking us farther than anyone wants to go?
Well, first of all, I disagree with the moral equivocation of both sides. The Israelis just want to live in peace, and the objective of Hamas Fatah is to destroy the Jewish state. But to your point and to your question, it's a very dangerous time. Clearly, the violence is spreading. And so I would have to say that they're on the brink of war. And I don't believe that we should rush to judgment. I mean, I found it most disturbing that Obama was silent for 18 days when the 3 Jewish school kids were kidnapped and murdered. But there was a rush for a statement on this young Muslim who was killed, and we still don't know how that happened. I mean, I'm sure you're aware that there's a history with the police with this family, and there may have been an honor situation. I don't know, and I'm not saying that happened. But what I am saying is we don't know what happened. But it's interesting how the whole world jumps to call it a revenge killing. There is absolute silence for weeks on what they knew was a Hamas operation to kidnap and then subsequently kill. And the reason why the children were killed was because they made a call. And, of course, the 2 Hamas operatives in the car became aware that they were on the phone saying this is a kidnapping, and you can hear in the full audio of the call the murder of those 3 young kids. It's a very dangerous time. According to a poll that was just released, a Fox News poll from the territories, the majority of Palestinians want Palestine from the river to the sea, which means it's a biblical term, which means the complete annihilation of Israel. We have to deal, truth is a recognition of reality, and we have to deal with facts on the ground. And this delusion, this fantasy of a peace process has gotten us to the point we are right now, which is really very scary, particularly with global jihadists literally consuming whole swaths of the Middle East in Iraq and in Syria, and now they're vowed to go into Jordan and Saudi Arabia and southern Turkey and what's going on in Africa as well. Very, very scary time.
Pamela, if you listen to all sides, and again, that's what we try to do here as we hear all the various reports coming in from around the world, there are those who will say that when you speak of a peace process, neither side truly wants peace, that Hamas does not want peace, that Israel does not want peace, that Israel wants to make sure that they are taking care of the Palestinian problem. Hamas is looking to take care of the Israeli problem. Where is, in your opinion now, where is the truth in all this? Because it does not seem to the rest of the world that there is a real desire for peace on either side at many times.
Well, I thoroughly and completely and utterly disagree with that absolutely false narrative.
You can absolutely agree with it, but again, and I do understand that it is a narrative that you may consider false, but it is out there. You do understand that?
Oh, not only do I understand it, I know it very well. I mean, it's a false narrative that it's advanced by a media that's notoriously anti-Israel and pro-jihad, and we see that really across the board in other situations as well. But the fact is we know that Israel has given since Oslo everything and the conditions were never met. We know that even as far back as Clinton, where 97% and Jerusalem was offered to Yasser Arafat and was summarily turned down. The objective of Hamas, the first paragraph of their charter, calls for the annihilation of Israel. How anyone can say that Israel does not want peace, they've literally cut off their own leg for peace. They have done everything for peace. This is a state that shares our values, our American values, in terms of life, liberty, and individual rights. It's the only democracy in the Middle East. Nobody wants to deal with the Islamic anti-Semitism that is in the Quran, that motivates jihadists, that incites and fuels this war. But the narrative that Israel does not want peace is ridiculous on its face.
Okay, let me go ahead and move on here, because I want to interrupt you 1 second here. Dr. Sabri Samirah from the American and Middle Eastern Affairs Center now joins us. Dr. Samirah, let me ask you that question then, same thing that I recently posed to Pamela. There are those people, and there is the narrative out there, agree with it or not, but it is there, that neither side truly wants peace. That's why there simply is no peace in the Middle East, and there doesn't seem to be any prospect for peace in the Middle East. How would you react to that statement?
Well, principally, logically, Palestine is occupied by the Israelis. This is the fundamental thing. This is what is agreed upon internationally. Even the U.S., our government, declares that these are lands under occupation. The settlements are illegal. Everybody around the globe is calling upon Israel to end the occupation, to end the settlements, and to stop abusing the Palestinian people. The Palestinians agreed to give up almost 80% of their historical Palestine for the new country that was established, which is called Israel in 1948. That is, they want peace, including Hamas. It agreed to 1967 borders solutions. So it is only Israel that is refusing peace, that is refusing any kind of settlement, because of the want that the Israeli government and the Israeli leaders want to control the whole historical Palestine, to kick out all the Palestinians out, and not to give them any single human or civil rights in their own homeland. So Israel does not want peace. The Palestinians want peace.
Pamela, I'm going to ask you to make this, please, 60 seconds. Give me your response to that, please. We're short on time.
It's nonsense. The legal agreement at San Remo, the San Remo resolution, gave Israel the mandate for Palestine. It's outrageous what this man is saying. The fact is, Israel has tried to make peace at every turn. Settlements are not illegal. The Israelis withdrew from Gaza unilaterally, and what has it become but a terror state in which to log rockets at schools and children? It's a ridiculous premise. The Palestinians refuse to make peace. And by the way, there is no such thing as historical Palestine. Historical Palestine is Israel. That idea is a lie. There is no flag. There is no prime minister. Before 1948, there were Palestinian Muslims and Palestinian Jews, and then the Palestinian Muslims were waging war and conducting pogroms against the Palestinian Jews as per the Quran and Islamic anti-Semitism, which is a mandate, a religious imperative of Islam.
Okay, I have a little less than 2 minutes left here. Dr. Samirah, let me throw this to you right now. What will it take at this point? We are at a flashpoint, again, in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. What will it take? Who will it take in order to shut this down and try to bring some sense to what's going on here and at least some quiet?
The only way is for the American government, our government, to really pressure the Israeli government to stop the nonsense occupation, to stop the nonsense settlement, to really sit
There's
down
no
at
occupation.
the table for peace.
There's no occupation.
I did not interrupt you, please.
It's not true.
I did not interrupt you, please. So it is the American policy that has to pressure Israel completely and fully. And even when Kerry said, a couple of condolences statements regarding the Palestinian youth who was killed by the Israeli settlers, the Israelis and American supporters of Israel started accusing Kerry of being Palestinian lenient. This is nonsense. This is the government. It's trying to serve the best interests of the states. The best interest of the states is to care for the opinions of the people around the globe, including the 1.5 billion Muslims who really do not accept the American policy. It's
okay, I'm going to have to stop you there. One sec, please. Pamela, 30 seconds in response, please.
The agreement between the post-World War Allied powers was adopted on April 25th, 1920. I suggest your listeners look it up, the San Remo Conference. It was a mandate for a national home for the Jewish people. They are not occupied territories. This is part of the myth.
Okay, but what will it take? 15 seconds. What will it take? I asked the same question. 15 seconds. What will it take to at least bring some peace here?
The acceptance of the Jewish state. The Muslims must recognize the Jewish state. That's the 15 seconds. They must recognize the Jewish state.
Okay,
They must recognize the Jewish state.
unfortunately, we are out of time. You both have very strong opinions, please. We are going to have you back on again very soon. We want to debate this again. I thank you both for your time, please. I wish you a very happy holiday, and thank you both very much.
Happy 4th. Thank
Pamela
you so
Geller,
much.
Dr. Sabri, Samirah, as you can see, this is a very passionate argument that has gone on for many generations. We are going to continue to follow this story and hope things settle down in the Middle East. This is MidPoint, where every day we question everything.